And I will now pass the time on over to Mountain Star Sports Group President Alan Ledford. Alan?
Thank you, Derek. And for those of you trying to figure out which one of the smiling faces here is our new head coach, it's not Brad Taylor. That's the only hint I'm going to give you. So with that as background, I'd like to welcome all of you here today in this unique press conference on behalf of Mountain Star Sports Group and the Locomotive organization. And thank you all for attending and wish you all happy holidays. Today's event is kind of indicative of the era that we live in, with technology playing such a significant part in making this possible today. And it also is indicative of the fact that the soccer is such an international sport, and we'll talk more about that circumstance with our new head coach over the course of this session. There's been a lot of excitement about this decision and about this process, and we are thrilled to be able to introduce this gentleman to you all today. Our fan base has been so amazingly supportive over the course of our 3 years of existence. And of course, the team and our technical staff have done an incredible job in introducing professional soccer at this very high level to the community. 3 playoff appearances in 3 years is a very significant accomplishment, and one that we're very proud of. We're just as proud of the role that Locomotive plays in the community. And as we sought to identify what we were looking for in a new head coach, we revisited the list we had prepared 4 years ago prior to hiring Mark Lowry, and we decided that those attributes or something very similar were what we needed as we go forward into, call it, the next era, the next stage of Locomotive soccer. We really looked at two levels. One is as a person, those personal attributes, and then secondly, professional attributes. And we wanted somebody who had good character, was just a good person at his core, and ideally a family man. We were looking for somebody who appreciated how important it is to integrate a club like El Paso Locomotive into the community, and was attuned to the role that the team will play and the club will play in the community, and the impact that we can have on the quality of life. And that, of course, is an underlying tenet of Mountain Star Sports Group, to improve the quality of life in our region. This search turned out to be ultimately an international one, and we talked to extensively a number of different very qualified individuals in trying to find the person that had the right fit. Besides those attributes I mentioned above, we wanted somebody who was progressive in their way of thinking and their approach to coaching soccer. We wanted somebody who embraced technology and other means to be the best that we can be, that was willing to be cutting edge, because we think that's how we can separate ourselves and put ourselves in the best position possible to support the team and the technical staff, and ultimately to win soccer games, and eventually the goal being to win some silverware and a championship. And we wanted somebody with a coaching pedigree, including as a head coach, and obviously on the professional level. And I think with this individual, we got somebody who met all of those criteria and exceeded many of them. So with that, I am very pleased to introduce today John Hutchinson as the new head coach and technical director of El Paso Locomotive FC. John embodies all of those qualities that I just talked about. He impressed us. He impressed Andrew Forrest, our general manager, ownership, and specifically as it relates to most clearly to his upcoming tenure with Locomotive, his time with Seattle Sounders, one of the most successful and highest quality organizations in Major League Soccer, and recent coaching experience internationally with what we would call a first division team in Japan. In fact, a team that is owned by the City Group, which also owns Manchester City in the Premier League. Both examples of John's pedigree and experience that we think will apply very well here. Despite the fact that I would consider John to be quite young, he has nearly a quarter century professional playing and coaching experience that he will bring with him, along with his family, his wife Kate, his son and his daughter, to El Paso here in the coming weeks. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce John Hutchinson. And John, welcome to El Paso.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks for the introduction. Really nice. Yeah, so I'm excited to obviously be announced as the head coach of El Paso. I was born in Australia, in a small country town in Victoria called Morwell. I started my pro career when I was 16 years old under a really famous coach in Australia named Frank Arrock, who picked me up from a local team. Played professional football for 19 years, mainly in Australia. I did have a loan deal at Chengdu Blades in China for 6 months. Played in Asian Champions League, was captain of my Central Coast Mariners club. I was there for 10 years and 2 years as an assistant coach. So I captained them to the first championship in 2013. Then from there, I took off to Seattle, which was S2 at that time. I was assistant coach under Ezra Hendrickson, and then became the head coach in 2018. And then went back to Melbourne in the A-League to become assistant coach, and then returned back to Seattle Sounders, where I became assistant coach and head of development with the first team, and then moved to Japan with the Yokohama F Marinos to be head coach under a manager system. And that's where I was really fortunate to meet probably the greatest Australian coach that we've ever produced in Ange Postecoglou, who's now the manager at Celtic. And I spent 7 months with him learning and guidance of how to become a top manager or head coach, as it's called in America. So, and it brings me now to El Paso, where I'm really looking forward to just getting started and getting into El Paso. It's a ambitious football club or soccer club, and I'm an ambitious coach. And I know that the club really wants to win silverware, and my ambition in that is to play attacking football and create an identity to the football team that there's fans in the club and people involved can be really happy about. So in terms of coming to El Paso, we can't wait, me and my family. We're gonna move. We're gonna move from it. We're in Australia at the moment. I came home to visit family because we were apart in Japan for 6 months. So I came home to visit family for Christmas. But as soon as the holiday season's over, I'm going to come to El Paso, and I just can't wait to get part of the community, to meet people, meet the players, get started for pre-season. A lot of planning going ahead right now, and the club's been fantastic. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be a head coach in the USL. I really like the league. I think it's a developing league. I think we can grow. But most of all, I'm excited about is bring my brand of football to the USL and to the players and get started.
Perfect. Thank you so much, John. We are definitely excited to have you here with the club. And I think it's safe to say I speak for everybody when I say that. Now, before we open up the floor here to the media for any questions for whether it be Alan Ledford, John Hutchinson, or General Manager Andrew Forrest, I would just like to remind everybody again, please remain muted unless you are called upon, just as a courtesy to others. And if you could raise your hand using the reactions there, and I will call on you. And then you can ask your question, a follow-up, and then we'll pass on that proverbial mic to another colleague of ours. And again, I just want to reiterate, I will pass along the recording as soon as this is over. It will take about 10 minutes to do so. So appreciate your guys' patience. With that being said, we will now start taking questions. I believe, Brett, I saw your hand go up first. So Brett, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Coach, in the last couple weeks, El Paso signed like 11 players who were regulars last year. Have you been involved in any of that at all? Or are you just kind of inheriting the team? Or, how much how much was your involvement with the team before today?
I've probably been working away for the last week in terms of signing players, but what I would say in terms of inheriting a squad, I'm inheriting a team that's previously done well and have a proven record in the USL. And it's really, for me, it's really great coming in and seeing there's players already picked in terms of what they've done in their track record. And now my job is to add some speed, some wingers in that. We're looking to add, we're going to play a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whichever way you want to call it. And we're going to add some speed in wide areas. But the core of the squad's really good. I'm really excited to work with the players. They've got a great track record in USL, and I just want to add some quality to the team, and really looking forward to just getting these boys on the training paddock and start preseason.
Were you involved in kind of recruiting some of those guys to come back, and how did that go?
Yeah, I was involved in probably the last couple of pieces. The rest of them was made by the club's decision. Obviously, they had to move forward without the head coach in terms of when Mark left and they didn't have one. You can't let quality players leave your organisation. And it's not just about, I've met majority of the squad now via phone calls, and they're all good people. And you want people that represent what El Paso is about, not just the football club, but the community as well. And these players all represent that. And that's what we're looking for in terms of bringing players in. The player has to fit the community as well as the football club.
Joe Rodriguez.
Yeah, hi, Coach. Joe Rodriguez with the Striker Texas. Just with regards, as far as the roster, the number of roster, El Paso historically under Mark Lowry, there's regular season roster has usually been about between 22 to 24 players. Kind of going against the grain as far as the traditional soccer roster of anywhere between 27 to 29, maybe 30 players. I was just wondering what's your outlook on the amount of players that you want for the upcoming 2022 season? And I have a follow-up question for Andrew Forrest.
Yep. Hey, Joe, how are you? Look, realistically, I'm going to go for a small squad as well. I prefer quality over quantity. I think if you've got a big squad, you start to lose what you're actually looking for inside of a team. So, we've got a small squad at the moment, but we've earmarked and we're chasing some players now. Hopefully we can get them signings across, and then you can see the type of players and people we're looking to bring in the football club. So probably around the 20, 22 mark I'll be looking for in terms of a squad. And then in terms of that, I want to add some young players as well. I'm looking through our academy as we speak. We're going to have a friendly game with our U19 team so we can spot the top talents. We want to promote local El Paso footballers into our system, and we want to give them the best opportunity to be the best them. And what I'm looking for in players is ambitious players. I want players that want to go to MLS overseas, because I'm ambitious, the football club's ambitious, we want to win stuff, and we want to play entertaining football. So, small squad. I want them to work hard, and like I'd say to all the players, no one's guaranteed minutes. The team will pick themselves based on how they train and play each week.
Thank you. And as far as for my follow-up, I don't know if this question should be directed towards Andrew or to Alan, but what details can you give with regards to the contract for Coach Hutchinson? Thank you.
We want John here as long as we can have him.
Perfect. I think that answers that. Oh, Andrew.
I just wanted to reiterate something that John brought up that I think is very important is the development of our USL Academy League team over the past 10, 12 months. We've identified and are helping to continue to develop some really exciting young players. And the fact that John is very interested in having a look top to bottom of that team and the local players, not just in the Academy League teams in the rest of our club, but also around the region, shows his propensity to be progressive and look around what's local. I don't think we need to talk about how good local El Paso soccer has been the last 5, 7, 10 years with all the various players around the world. So I think that's really exciting, coupled with the quality over quantity. We're going to have some real talent that we can call upon at any time, whether it's from the full squad or the younger players in our development system in the academy.
Perfect. Next, we'll go to Duke Keith.
Hey, John, congratulations, first of all. And I did want to ask, as you kind of make this roster, obviously a lot of pieces are already in place, but are there specific guys that you might be bringing with you from where you've been in the past? How familiar are you? You've been in Oceania and Asia the last few years, but I'm assuming you kind of have kept your foot in the North American player pool. What are you looking for in terms to build the roster, and specifically, if you could kind of touch on some of the needs that you see?
Yeah, look, at the moment we're probably looking for around 8 players to bring into the squad. I'm definitely looking for players with speed in wide areas, because the only thing I can't coach is speed. So I need some players that have got that naturally. So we're looking around, and yeah, to be honest, I have a good connection around. I played in China, I've coached in Japan, I've played through Asian Cups in terms of internally. I've played international football for Malta. So I played 11 games for Malta through heritage, through my family heritage, which was a proud moment for myself and my family. So I have connections, but the main point I want to get across is sometimes a player doesn't fit the club or community. And that's what I'll be looking for in the players. They have to fit. They can't be just great footballers and don't fit into the community. El Paso is a small community we want to embrace. We want to open our doors up to the local football, soccer coaches to come watch training and be involved. We want to go around to training clubs and look at clubs and see what they have there in terms of players. So the profile I'm looking for is obviously, they have to obviously be talented footballers, but they also have to fit the community and they have to fit El Paso and the football club. And that's really important for me, that we bring in players that are willing to work hard and be ambitious every day. So where they come from, where they're born, that's not the makeup I'm looking for. The makeup I'm looking for is obviously the person and the footballer.
Thanks very much. And if I could follow up with Andrew, if you could kind of give us, you told us it was going to be a global search, and indeed, John comes from kind of out of right field a little bit, but if you could kind of go through the process of what led you to John and how he kind of separated himself here at the very last as you guys were making your decision.
Yeah, it was a big search. We were presented a lot of names, both domestically and from various different parts of the globe. I don't know that we could have gone much farther corner than where John was and is at the time. So, but we held fast to our ideals and to the coaching profile that we created, that Alan walked us through at the beginning of this presentation. And John, was able to hit all those marks. And we thought that he was an unbelievable pick and was available to us. He's got a big playing history and a big coaching history and profile in fairly short order, as he's been a player to fairly recently. So it was part of our process to look around and really uncover every stone that we could, because where I think this job and what we've seen is that the amount of coaches, the quality, the names that, former national team players from the United States, from other countries that were putting their name in this hat, you can see where this club has come from in 3 short years due to the success on the field and what we've been able to build both on the field and off the field. This is a premier job in the United States, regardless of division. I firmly believe that, and we have just continued to prove that with the appointment of John. He's a coach that's well credentialed, and we couldn't be happier to have someone of his magnitude and character come into our club. And I think that's indicative of all the work that's been done from again, on the field, off the field, front office, fans, ownership, and everybody in between.
Roberto Silva.
Thank you very much, everybody. First of all, I wanna welcome Coach to Texas. It's an amazing place to be, and I'm a big fan of the whole El Paso organization. I had never hidden that before. I wanna ask you, Coach, how much of the current staff the current team squad do you know, and how do you see the challenge on developing players and also winning games? For example, we got Diego Luna, the rising star of the league, under your belt for this season. how do you balance that? And then I have a follow-up question to Andrew Forrest. If Andrew has talked to Coach John about the importance of winning Copa Terras.
Hey, Roberto, thank you so much. Yeah, look, in terms of development over winning, I think that it just goes hand in hand. And that's why it's really important that we kept the core of players there, because they know what winning means and they know how to win football games. So that was really important. But development's part of what I've done previously. In Seattle Sounders, I was head of development, where I didn't not taken any credit, but I was part of Josh Atenzio, Danny Leiva, Double Air's development through Seattle. There's obviously a lot of other coaches that helped in that. So I always look forward to looking after young players and bringing them through the system and making sure that they are looked after, but they also have to earn their stripes as well. And in terms of the squad, the team playing, obviously when I was interested in coming to El Paso, I watched majority of their games from last season. I liked the brand of football and the way the club looked, and that's what made me interested to come to El Paso at the start. So I've scouted the players, I've met some players. I look forward to working with them daily. I look forward to finding that little gem in El Paso that no one's heard of, that comes through and surprises everyone in the league. The USL, again, is a league that has always interested me from my time with Seattle Sounders S2 to Tacoma Defiance, as they're known now. So I used to watch games from Japan, from Australia on YouTube all the time as part of watching and seeing if there's anything out there, even to bring with me away from America. So I've watched games, I've studied the team. I know the pros and cons of the players. And to be honest, we have some really good footballers, some footballers I can't wait to work with. And you touched on Luna. Yes, he's probably the most talented player in the USL. And how long we have him for, that's up to him. That's up to him, how he develops, where he wants to go and how he plays his football. But I'm really looking forward to meeting him, working with him, but just as much as all the other players as well.
And Roberto, yes, and just for those that may not be familiar, we have talked about Copa Tejas. Copa Tejas is obviously something that we won last year, both the USL version as well as the Supporter Shield version, which we're really excited to showcase here shortly, which I think is a kind of a new development. This is a all-pro Texas competition. There's a USL version, an MLS version, and then an all-points version, which is the Supporter Shield. And we were lucky enough, I guess. We earned and won due to our play. We won the Supporter Shield. We won the USL version, and as well, I believe we had Coach of the Year and Mark Lowry, as well as 6 players to the first team all USL. So we're extremely proud of those accomplishments, and that's, I can tell you with conviction, we do not want to give that away. We do not want to give that to RGVD. We do not want to lose that to San Antonio, and we will. And as John and I and his overall philosophy, we all want to win games. We want to win championships, and that includes Copa Tejas, and that is just as important as anything else out there to win, and we are not looking to give it away. So,
Nate Ryan.
Coach, first off, welcome to El Paso and welcome to Locomotive FC. My name is Nate Ryan. I'm one of the local TV sports guys here. I work for the ABC station, but just wanted to talk to you a little bit about outside of X's and O's, but the community of El Paso as a whole. I mean, this is a team and a city and a community that, really endears itself to their head coach, on the field and off. What do you know about the city of El Paso? It's a pretty unique spot. And, what do you want to get to know, I guess, about the community down here?
Hey, Nate, nice to meet you, mate. Yeah, look, with all that kind of stuff, like the moving, coming to El Paso, I'm not going to lie to you. My wife takes care of all that kind of stuff. She's the boss. I just sit back and listen to her. But in terms of community, what I can't wait to do is just get there, meet the community. I've heard it's the most lovely people, friendly. So I just want to get a part of it and be a part of the community. Like me and my family like to go out for dinner a lot. And so I'll be around the community, supporting local businesses. But generally, I just can't wait to get started. It's, when you look up El Paso, coming from Australia, and America's a big place like Australia, and, it's it's probably one of the biggest adventures we're going to have as a family to come to El Paso. And that's exciting for us. We love doing stuff as a family and doing something that maybe is a little bit different from Australians to do. So, you know, we know the community. It's a small community, but we know they support their sports. I know they love their baseball. They love their soccer. And part of that is why we can't wait to get there. I just want them to be, I want to make a football brand, an identity of this football club that the fans can be, and people of El Paso can be proud of. That represents them as well. Something that we're going to entertain, and we want to be attacking, and we want to win football games. Now, winning for me is an uncontrollable. That's something for the fans and for the ownership and for the players. So what I want to focus on is the way we play, the identity of the football club, because I know if we can have the identity and play the brand of football we want, the winning will take care of itself.
Perfect. Steve Kaplowitz.
Thanks, Derek. Coach, you know, we've heard a lot about your system on offense, attack, and speed, which I know a lot of fans will be excited for. What's your philosophy when it comes to a defense for the club?
Hey, Steve, nice to meet you. Yeah, defense. Yeah, great. Pressing. I want the ball. I like having the ball. I like possession. Possession for me isn't passing between the centre backs and the goalkeeper and keeping the ball back there. That doesn't count as possession. Possession's in attacking half playing, but I want the ball back as fast as we can. So we're going to make an aggressive pressing team where they're going to press really high. They're going to go man for man. We're going to put teams under pressure because, again, we want the ball back. And I expect all the players, once we lose it, to be moving to win the ball back straight away. Not saying that there's not different ways to win. You know, I know we can go into a really low block and defend on top of our box and become a counter-attack football, and people win like that as well. But my philosophy, and you know, I touch on this. I had an attacking philosophy for my whole life in terms of coaching and how I saw teams playing, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle. But the puzzle had a lot of holes in it. But when I met Ange Postecoglou, and took me to Yokohama, and if you see what his team's doing at Celtic at the moment, what our team did in Japan, it kind of filled the puzzle piece up. Now the puzzle isn't completed by any means. There's still holes in the puzzle because we want to develop and we want to grow as a football club and grow the way we play. But I just see football played with the ball. It's a game for the players. It's a game for the fans. It's a game for people to enjoy. And that's my philosophy. So when we lose it, we're going to press, we're going to be aggressive. If it's man for man, and we're going to go man for man, we're going to try to win the ball as high up the park, because the people that come, the fans, the supporters that come and pay their hard-earned money to come watch players play and support the club, they want to see goals. They want to see entertainment, and I want to entertain them. So I want the players, I've spoken to a couple of players, I want them to play like when they were 12 years old. You know, remember when you were a kid and you're running around the back garden kicking the ball? Like, no one wanted to defend. No one wanted to be running around chasing their older brother around for 90 minutes, chasing the ball and not kicking it. It's all about the ball. They want to shoot and score. They want to pass the ball. They want to dribble. And I want to bring that to El Paso. I want to bring that kind of football and identity to El Paso. And that's how I see the game. So defensively, yes, really important. Without pressing doesn't come possession. So pressing is probably our number one key factor in terms of defending. But again, the football base that I want these players to play will be with the ball, attacking and aggressive, and we won't stand back. We'll keep going. I want to score goals. I want to entertain people.
Perfect. Andy Morgan.
Hey, Coach. First question I got for you is just beyond, obviously, the success of this El Paso Locomotive team, what interests you most about this job? When this job came open, what was it about it that was just like, that's the one that I want to have? And then I also have a follow-up for Andrew after that. Thank you.
Hey, Andy, nice to meet you, mate. The ambition of the football club. As soon as I looked to even small details, I was looking into the club, and you might laugh at this, but I looked at the website to see how updated it was. You know, is this a team that wants to take care and have pride in what they do? And that was the first initial step that I took when I saw that Mark left. And then from there, when I started speaking to Andrew and Alan, and you get the sense that it's an ambitious club, they want to grow, they want they want more and more all the time. And that's what I want. I'm an ambitious coach. You know, I said to Andrew and Alan that I love El Paso. I can't wait to get there and get started, but I've got ambitions as well as a coach to coach at the highest level. And I want my players to do that as well. And the club supported that through the whole process. In terms of my first statement to players will be that I don't want you at El Paso. I want you to be ambitious. I want you to fight for something. I want you to fight for the club. I want you to fight for the community, but I want you to have your own ambition. And I want you to grow. And the football club stands for all that. El Paso stands for growth and ambition. And that's exactly what dragged me to El Paso in terms of applying, showing my interest, and then obviously now becoming the head coach.
And then Andrew, for you, in terms of this search, Mark obviously in the first 3 years built a system that was very unique to the players that he brought in. When you guys went through this search, was it important to find someone that had a similar, I guess, style of play or something like that, or was that not a thing at all?
No, I think it definitely was, but it goes back to the profile of the coach is you know, there are coaches that highly qualified coaches that were presented to us, but they play a style of football that's not what we are interested in. It's not that it's wrong, it's just not what we're interested in. There were certainly a couple that were very defensive minded that we just weren't interested in. You know, John's going to be his own coach, but I think there are going to be similarities to what we've seen here in the past, but there's also going to be some significant differences, I think, based on his philosophy. And as we've walked through and seen as he's presented to us, you know, as he mentioned, you know, we're more interested in possession in the middle third, the final third, or the second, you know, the attacking half of the field. And that's you know, maybe a little bit in contrast to some of the previous philosophies, and we wholly support that. And you know, the players that were, back to somebody asked this earlier about the roster, you know, we had to make some decisions on players due to timing, and we didn't have a coach, but we also wanted to give whoever the coach was going to be a backbone of a team that we think would fit, because they're going to, based on who we would choose, this would be a group of players that would fit the system that he wants to implement. But we also wanted to leave him the autonomy to find some of his own players to implement and bring in, because he does see the game a bit differently than the previous head coach. So, you know, we think we've provided a good backbone for this, but we absolutely defer to John and his coaching staff to bring in the subsequent 6, 7, 8 players that we're looking at, and I got to be honest, the man is knee deep in all of that at the moment, and we're excited for the profiles that he's presented, and if we can get some of these guys in here, we are going to take another step forward, and that should be a dangerous warning to the rest of the league, because we're already close. We've already been close for 3 years, so we're resolute and continue to move forward, and we absolutely back John on the players that he has and the players that he will bring in.
Perfect. Just as a reminder, guys, if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand and I will call on you shortly after. Duke, you're up next.
All right, and this is mainly directed more toward Andrew and possibly Alan, but also John, and I see Josh Hunt in there as well. But if you guys could address a very interesting survey that came out from Kilted Sports Marketing that ranks the top soccer cities in the United States, not by, you know, DMA or market size or how many eyeballs watch the World Cup, but who talks about it, who participates in it, who shows up at the games, and so forth. And El Paso is the #1 city in the United States. Just wondering if you could address that and just what it shows, not only about your organization, but about El Paso as a soccer city.
I've seen it, so I'll start it, unless Alan or Josh or John have seen this. This just recently came to my attention in the last hour and a half, and I was pretty blown away. But then I started to think about it, and I think it you know, it's indicative of the community that we live in. I mean, you look at where we are. You know, every weekend there's almost year round due to the great weather. I mean, it boggles my mind from where I'm from to play high school soccer in the winter months. That's just not possible where
That's
I'm
Texas.
from. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to me. But I think you have you have basically an extra season, an extra 3 months of play that most states don't get, because you get 2 club seasons plus the winter high school season. Plus there's tons of stuff going on here in the summer. And I, with what the Locomotive have done in the last couple of years, I hope we played a small positive part in that. And I think it's well deserved, because if you go out and look for soccer, you don't have to look very far. There's men's leagues. I've played in some of these little places that are in the middle of nowhere off of a dirt road, and there's grown men playing, and like it's a World Cup final. But I think it's something to be immensely proud of for the community, and something that we're gonna shout from the rafters to let the rest of the country know that this is a soccer hotspot as big as any out there, despite our population size not being as big as some other metropolitan areas. It's 100%. This is a soccer town.
Well, and speaking a little bit from ownership's perspective, it's one of the reasons that that Mountain Star was excited to bring this level of soccer to this community. We realized that that the focus previously has been more in Liga MX, Ascenso, and maybe European soccer historically, because El Paso really hasn't had a professional club. And so we knew there was an absolutely significant base there. We also knew, by virtue of our Chihuahuas experience, that this community supports its own. It embraces, it takes pride in at a level that is unparalleled, its sports teams and other assets in the community. So we knew that was there too. And I think, and I'll just speaking for myself personally, as somebody who is learning every day about this sport, what has impressed me most has been two things. One is the experience at these games, the level of excitement, the level of fun, and our fans are a big part of that. But the players, obviously, and the team are an equally important piece of it. The quality of play, the athleticism. I mean, we had 10, 11 players, and you see the flags hanging off the bridge in the outfield. We had 10 or 11 players from other countries outside of this one playing on Locomotive last year. And there's just a flavor to soccer and a level of excitement because of the event orientation that I think plays really well to this community. And those attributes in the aggregate result in what we believe to be a very good product, and one that John continues to use the term ambition. We are very ambitious. We want to be as good as we can possibly be, and continue to get better and to eclipse that already high bar. And I think our fans appreciate that, and frankly, it's more fun to do it that way.
Perfect. We got a couple more minutes. So Joe, why don't you go ahead and close us out?
Yeah, this question for John and Andrew. With John, you mentioned that you'll be making your way down to the borderland after the holidays. Can you give us just more or less of a timeline as far as when you want to start meeting with the team and possibly your preseason beginning? Thank you.
Yeah, as to when I get to El Paso, if you can give the embassy a call in Sydney here, the American embassy, and give them a helping hand to get my visa across the line, that'd be great. I am aiming to come just after January. As soon as January starts, to get into El Paso to get started and just get a part of the community. My wife and kids are coming. My kids will go to school in El Paso. My wife will be living in El Paso. So we want to make the move and make that as fast as we can. When the family comes, I'm unsure exactly, but we're going to get in there as fast as we can. In terms of preseason, yes, we have a preseason date. I don't know if I'm going to later tell you, but I am going to tell you. It's January 20. We're going to start preseason, and we're going to work hard. We're going to do a lot of double sessions in terms of on the field. A lot of training to be done. We're going to push these players. We want to take the football that started there in El Paso. We want to take it to a new level. I want the players to really enjoy it, and I want the fans and the club to embrace it. in the attacking. And that was part of why I couldn't wait to get started with El Paso, because they want the ball, they want to play an attacking brand of football, and that's what I want to bring. So January 20 will start. Players will report before that. Obviously, they have all the stuff they need to clear first before they start training, and then we start training from there. We have pre-season games scheduled already. We have a good schedule. The club's helping me and support me in terms of games that we were required to play. Our first game will be against our under-19 academy team, which is really exciting for me because I get to see our youngsters running around as well, and then obviously invite them to pre-season, and then hopefully 2 of them, 1, 2 stand up and they get rewarded with the contracts, because that's what we want to do, and that's part of development of the club and development of El Paso footballers.
And just to follow up a little bit, as it's been for the last 3 years, and as I look around this virtual room, I've seen almost everybody at our training sessions. Derek will continue as the dates get closer. We will continue to remind you of the open training sessions that are in the media days that you're able to come out to get interviews with Coach John or certain players, of course. So that will all be still in effect, and we'll look to do that and get more information at the turn of the year. So when we really start to nail down these dates, we can remind you of them and when to come out. And of course, if there's any follow-up one-on-one interviews that would be more in depth, please look to speak to Derek. To those over the next couple of weeks, can work with myself and John to try to coordinate those more in-depth conversations as you guys like.
Perfect. And I think with that, we will call it on this press conference. Once again, I would like to thank everybody for coming out here. And of course, a huge thank you to Alan, Andrew, and John. Appreciate you guys presenting and speaking here today. As I said before, I'll pass around this recording as soon as possible. And again, thank you and have a great day.